Hi there, my name's Paul Luftenegger, and I am in this wonderful book, Magic and Miracles. Um, Long story short, my father sadly took his own life in 2011, and I had a great awakening, which was a big part of essentially my soul feeling its own worth the morning that my father died by suicide. And really soon after my father transitioned, I knew that I had an experience with the divine. I use the word God. And what's sort of fascinating all these years later, it's been 8 years since then, and I write music to inspire global love and kindness from within, ultimately for the soul to feel its worth from the first person. And what's sort of fascinating about life is I know that I've been prepared to be who I am, to serve the world and answer the call from the divine, which is actually being a musical medium or a musical alchemist. My music's been used actually and requested by the United Nations, a division of the UN, 3 times. I've sang for the International Day of Yoga, the International Day of Women, and the International Day of Peace. And I have 7 conscious albums to help the soul feel its worth. You can find my work at www.bekindness.com, so BEE kindness.com, and I am a medium. Essentially, I am very capable of tapping into the other side, and I'm also an ascension guide. So ultimately, I help the soul become its own guru, and I support the guru within the actual listener. And my work is used more and more to help ascension. So I decided to write about the sixth sense, and we're in a time of great shifting as the veils thin between ultimately the other side and here. So this is my chapter, the sixth sense, understanding our inner divine sacred technology, by Paul Luftenegger. Our soul's holy worth. I'm a musical medium, clairaudient, and an ascension guide with God's holy love and grace. I can safely say that with absolute certainty that my whole life is miraculous and magical because of God's holy love that nurtured and cared for me enough to share what I know and pass the metaphorical baton to you. I was called by God to do this sacred work, this holy work in 2011, much like how many priests and ministers explain receiving their sacred call from God to the church or pulpit. My call from God came from countless magical, miraculous moments with God loving me whole again after my father's tragic suicide, which happened on March 6th of 2011. In many ways, the old me died that day, and the new hybrid, the highest version of my best self, began to bloom its eternal, sacred, infinite, holy, magical blooms. Seeing someone kill themselves and abandoning their life is a stain in the fabric of the heart and soul that is very hard to clean and heal because it hurts terribly. I wish this pain and trauma on no one. I have complete empathy and compassion for anyone suffering here on planet Earth, and I know that many are in dire pain, often trapped in the pain of shame. What I know for sure is that pain is totally and completely relative. Sadly hurt, people hurt other people in response to their own suffering instead of transitioning their suffering with and through the divine love of God. We are in a time of evolutionary growth. We all must grow up spiritually by taking hold of our own reins, or better yet, our own steering wheels, and becoming completely responsible for the energy we create. We are in a whole new planetary age on this new earth that has been predicted by sages, saints, and divine masters for many thousands of years. The great part is we are all so very blessed to be on earth right now. We're here with some of the most incredible, beautiful, brilliant, timeless souls that have ever been. And if you are reading this or hearing this, you are likely one of them. This is not a solo mission. We are all here together to put away competition and conflict and integrate the peacefulness of holy, sacred oneness. One earth, one crew, one spaceship. When you leave Earth and look back, it is one world. We must all remember we are on the same team, the same crew. This is the holy nature and the holy grail of the new ascended Earth in the 5th dimension and beyond. The Earth has already ascended. We are the ones catching up to her wonderful vibrational frequencies to help each of us with our own personal ascension. To ascend ultimately means becoming one's best and highest self in manifest form right here on Earth. We are living in a new age where co-creation is fully becoming manifest. No more lines of separation that divide us from our loving holy source, God, nor from one another. We are all sacred, divine, holy brothers and sisters, and we must all become the captain and master of our own fate with God's will fused with our own. The only way this is truly possible is with the sacred truth of the immortal soul in unity with the cosmos. The day my father died by suicide. The day my father died, I realized I was no longer strong enough or big enough to do this life alone. I fell into a deep, dark space where I thought I was dying. On bended knees before God in front of the bathroom mirror where I could no longer bear the pain or breathe that morning, while pulling my hair out of my head, I prayed to God to save me and to heal me. I thought I was dying of a broken heart and a broken soul. I remember looking deep into my eyes that morning, praying into my pupils, asking God to help me. To my surprise, God came and filled my heart with compassionate, pure, holy, divine love and light, restoring a sacred understanding of who I truly am. Writing this for you makes me cry because for the first time on March the 6th of 2011, I realized that I was what's inside of me and not what is outside of me, that I am my heart and that I am my soul with the Holy Spirit, and that the outside world is separate from me. I became sovereign with God's pure love for me that day and each day since. For years, God has held me in his loving, kind arms every single day when I thought I could no longer survive on this earth. My pain was trumped by God's will to love me until I could walk, talk, and sing again. I was liberated by God's love to stop being afraid, to be the divine loving light, the sacred soul, and the pure heart with the Holy Spirit that I am, remembering my original pure light and my divine pure essence with God, always there to help me thrive. God's message to me soon after my father's suicide was that I would write music to help the world forever. I remember thinking that God was absolutely, totally nuts and had lost it, knowing that I was not a singer and certainly not a public person that could perform whatsoever. I remember trying to tell God that he had got it all wrong, that I was the wrong person for this mission and that I was not big enough, strong enough, smart enough, or good enough to write the music that God was asking me to produce and create. I remember God just looking at me and smiling with pure love, saying absolutely nothing. The silence was deafening, so I began to play and play and play, and then sing and sing and sing, opening up my heart and my soul to God. I remember God coming through the core of all that I am, with a light of pure love more beautiful than anything I have ever experienced before. I was astonished by the miracles every single time, and in fact I still am. I remember every single miracle that took place at the piano. Each song is a message for the world from God. With humility and gratitude, here we are 8 years later, my music from 6 conscious albums. Now there's 7, I just have to correct this. With 2 singles, have been used at the United Nations 3 times in New York City. My music has been used to honor the incredible life work of Louise Hay in front of 2,000 people, which was live streamed all around the world on Louise Hay's last birthday. My music has been used by countless teachers and by students from all around the world, helping hearts and souls understand their divine sacred worth and their pure, gorgeous inner beauty. I have received letters from people in so many countries thanking me for helping their heart and their soul to light up with pure divine love. I have met princes, New York Times bestselling authors, and many famous spiritual teachers. I have a recorded telephone message from Oprah Winfrey that was sent to me by her neighbor in Hawaii, thanking this neighbor for gifting her my CDs. My music was even contracted by the hit show So You Think You Can Dance, and privately performed by 2 of their amazing choreographers as a surprise for Louise Hay's birthday. I have been invited to India, the USA, Denmark, Norway, Iceland, Sweden, Switzerland, Germany, England, Holland, Australia, Spain, Belgium, France, Vietnam, Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, China, Cambodia, the Philippines, Cyprus, and so many more countries as a result of my contribution to help humanity with conscious, kind, loving, positive healing music. This is what makes me cry with gratitude because God knew exactly what I would do and all that I needed when I had no idea whatsoever. I share this with humility because I thought I wasn't good enough to do any of this. I now realize that the only way to fully ascend with God is to surrender to God's pure holy love and to bring that pure holy love into full alignment from the inside out, to find the flow that is destined for oneself. My own ascension. My own ascension process began the day I saw my father hanging by a rope from a steel beam in our family home. That sad day in March where my heart broke into billions of pieces, I surrendered to God from the inside out, and my whole world and universe shifted on a dime. Was it easy? No. Would I change anything? No. It isn't about me and my single will. What we all must come to understand is that though we all have free will, there is a master plan. This plan includes our free will coupled with God's divine will. God's divine will shall always be done no matter what, because God's divine love and divine light has already won the whole game of life. That morning, while praying to God to help me in my darkest moment, God came and answered every single prayer that day and each and every single day since. It is as if my ascension and healing with God is fully integrated, much like how I was before I came to earth as Paul Luftenegger. Ultimately, I remembered that I was always with God's pure divine holy love and integrated this intimacy into my whole light body, allowing my cup to runneth over with God's divine holy nectar in the plasma of every particle that is me, the whole being that makes me all that I am. I am now in full form with my pure essence and divine flow. My work. I work and specialize in divine frequencies. My sacred mission on earth is to help souls that are ready to feel their divine worth, clearly understanding a sacred inner technology by cleaning up some of the confusion and bringing the plasma light body into alignment and into a fuller bloom of understanding. Ultimately, the aim is to help all beings of love to thrive with divine love from the inside out. I work for and with God in unity to help serve hearts and souls to understand the divine frequencies required to ascend. This is where the heart and soul integrates together in an inner peaceful process, allowing the divine universal mind to come online with more clarity and understanding. I guess you could say I help my clients understand the process of how to reach God with much more certainty. The reality is that it begins with self-love, self-kindness, and understanding one's divine sacred worth from the inside out. I have given many private sessions over the years, tapping in and going through what I call an ascension reading. A session. The messages that come through in these readings are truly awesome. They are such a beautiful shared process and holy space with our teams from beyond the veils, who include our departed loved ones and our own spiritual guides. This includes angels, archangels, and ascension masters from all over the cosmos. Before we begin to really dive into ascension, we must understand that the frequencies of heaven are right here, right now on earth. Much like a tuning fork that helps the piano tuner tune the piano with frequencies, my job is quite similar. I help people tune into God's divine love. We must all tune into God's pure loving frequencies by raising our own frequencies to love, which means letting go of the pain body and rising up to God's divine holy loving frequency, which is paradise, often known as heaven. The challenge is that our own earth experiences are often dense. Sadly, many get stuck in the pain, misery, and low vibrational victim vibrations that block the process of integration. I often call these pains and traumas veils or masks. The only way to God and to integrate God's inner technology is with and through pure divine holy love frequencies and vibrations. The only place to really do this is inside the heart and inside the soul. It all begins with the way you see the universe, and the choice is so simple. You have a choice in each moment to see the universe as hostile or loving. The only way to ascend is to choose to believe that we live in a loving, kind, conscious, beautiful, heavenly universe. The Holy Trinity, the Sacred Heart, the Eternal Soul, the Divine Mind. The Sacred Heart, the Eternal Soul, and the Divine Mind must become one unit of inner peace connected to an inner loving river of Source, God. When this magical, miraculous process fully integrates and blooms, one ascends, lighting up the aura from within oneself, making the plasma light body inside shine with pure holiness and reverence for the miracle that life truly is. In a nutshell, this is what Ascension is all about: the integration of these three inner sacred technologies working together with God to form the sixth sense. The first clear understanding we must all come to terms with is that the soul is a piece and a part of God's pure, infinite, holy, divine love. We must also understand that the soul drives and powers the body much like a car. Without the soul in the body and in the driver's seat with the consciousness and control over the operating systems, there is no life force energy and no driver to drive the car. This is proven simply by the physical death of the body. No soul, no life in the body. Sadly, many have forgotten that the soul is a piece and a part of God. I say this with humility because I too have forgotten this fact at times. In our forgetfulness, we may react to others in ways that are brutal and often cruel. This is what makes me cry at times, because so few of us remember that we are all from the same divine, pure, loving, sacred, infinite source, God. Often with veils of programs and masks of unworthiness placed upon us that cover our soul with layers and layers of densities and sludge, the pains and traumas the soul finds hard to let go of, which makes the soul's light dim, shackled from freedom and love, and ultimately where the soul comes from, source. I see many souls in shackles on earth, and I have learned that having compassion for those that are hurting is one of the greatest gifts and tools we have to help this world. Not always easy, but very important. The heart is such a vital, sacred part where ascension must always begin. There is no other way. So many people are in jobs they hate, money to pay for things that they loathe buying, and detesting the whole system of work. I say this because this was the old me. I used to be this person. I used to work chasing the metaphorical carrot that was dangling from a fixed position that I could never reach or attain, somewhat like a dog chasing its tail, never catching what it seeks. The truth is, it is up to the soul to find its way home to source. The enlightened spiritual path and journey is available to each and every single one of us, and God is patiently waiting for all souls to awaken to this beautiful truth. It is inevitable, as every single soul will hear a knock at the door to come into the divine sacred awareness at some point of the journey and cycle of life. Each soul is a part of God's love and light, source. Much like water, the soul must always return to its source. Ascension with the sixth sense is choosing to do this consciously right here, right now, before the physical death. The beauty is that telepathy and the sixth sense come from the heart's vibrational frequency in tune with God's pure love, with the soul working together, with life happening for us and not to us. About the author, which is me. Paul Luftenegger is an international, multi-award-winning singer and songwriter and composer. Paul writes conscious music to inspire and promote global love and kindness from within. Paul's focus is nurturing self-worth within the listener. He has performed for the United Nations 3 times, and his music has been used to honor icons like Louise Hay. Paul serves the Starkey Hearing Foundation, helping to give free hearing aids to those in need around the world. His song Diamond Light won the Honorable Mention Award from the USA International Songwriting Competition in 2013, and the album of the same name, the Top 10 Award in the London Free Press. Paul's music is used in classrooms worldwide to help children understand the importance of self-love and self-kindness. Paul tours with his music and provides healing workshops around the globe, singing, speaking, and teaching. Paul Luftenegger's albums and singles. Albums: Beautiful World, Blessings from Above, 2011. Worthy, 2012. Diamond Light, 2013. Love Expanding Love, 2014. The Miracle of You, 2015. Faith, 2017. And Seeds of Peace, 2019. Singles: I Believe in You, North Star. Connect with Paul at www.beekindness.com or email at info@paulluftenegger.com, and that's PAULLU, F as in Frank, T as in Tom, ENEGGER. You can connect with Paul on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Luftenegger, twitter.com/Luftenegger, Instagram.com, Paul and Corey. So Paulandcori. And more than anything, if you're interested in exploring, I think ultimately what music is a vibration or a frequency. And when the soul is free, it vibrates with a freedom. And I think that we have misunderstood music. So my work is really honoring a vibration or a frequency of energy, which is peace, love, joy, happiness, prosperity. And I think ultimately the thing that we must all remember is that we are ascending, and in consciousness, when you vibrate with more of the loving divine vibrations inside of yourself, it's so much easier to live in a space of love. I recently heard a quote from Rumi that I love so much. Stop, close your eyes, fall in love, stay there. And I think that, the more that we sort of share in consciousness, I think ultimately we have to understand that everything is energy. You have a choice to make in every moment of your life. And what you choose creates your future and the experiences you're going to have. When you look at things as energy, or frequencies or vibrations, love vibrates at a very specific vibration. So does consciousness. And taking responsibility for the energy we create is a very big part of how we take ownership of our life, and own that when we basically have the choice of pressing two pedals, gas being, the gas of ultimately peace, love, joy, happiness, prosperity, which is divine love, or fear. And I'm not even going to share what those are, but you can guess what those are. But I think ultimately when you press or expand or amplify the vibrations, much like a microphone into an amplifier, peace, love, joy, happiness, prosperity, or anything loving and kind, it goes out as energy. But what's so beautiful is it comes back to us, and it helps us create this beautiful, beautiful ascension space around our life. And I know for sure music's a very good example of this, because what's so beautiful is it goes out to the world and it comes back to us. And when you seek love, you find love, and it comes back to you. And this sort of understanding of energy really helps us decode our lives, and I think ultimately thrive. And you have the right to thrive. And I think that being a human being has been very, very hard for us. But I know for sure that if you'd like to thrive in life, and you have the right to, the most important thing is that you have self-worth and self-love. And because you're here, it matters. I remember in my healing, Oprah Winfrey gave me a very specific teaching, and I'll never forget this in 2011. And it was the moment where she shared the miracle of her life, that particular little sperm from her mother and that particular little sperm from her father, I should have said egg, that particular little egg from her mother and that particular little sperm from her father came together to make basically Oprah Winfrey. And then also, that is the same story for all of us. And of all of the things that had to align, realign, configure, and reconfigure, wow, what a miracle that is. Of all the choices that had to be made, and of all the choices that didn't get made, for those two cells to come together in all infinity, and for you to be the result of that divine moment, that spark of life. That's amazing. And your life ever since then has got you to this point, watching this video and sharing this moment of consciousness. And all of the things that have happened in your life have happened for you, not to you. And I think when you accept them and then do something about it, making the choices that you make moving forward with consciousness, this is what I know for sure happened in 2011 when I became the singer that I am. I think that finding your life's purpose is the most important thing that you can do, because it gives you a reason to live. And when people come back to you with sharing a love that you've shared with them, that is the nectar of when we feel God and the universe in full manifestation in our lives. So this is my little, part of of offering in the world. And I think that conscious music is the one thing that can bypass the brain and go into the heart and soul and help feel worthy. So go confidently in the direction of your dreams and live the life that you've imagined, as Thoreau so beautifully taught us all. And God bless you. And thank you for being a part of Magic and Miracles. God bless. Wishing you all the best. Bye.